Welcome back, everybody. We're here to pull cards for December the 9th. I am going to be pulling one card for overall energy, and then after that, we'll be looking at cards for each individual sign, and we'll look at how all those energies blend together to come up with a reading for each individual sign as we go along. You can get a lot of information if you know your sun sign about what's coming up for the day, but you can also pull a lot more if you know your rising sign and your houses. So I am using the vice versa tarot deck today, which means that there is no front or back. There's just this or that side. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up with really having two cards in front of us for each card that I pull. And so we're going to be getting a little bit more detailed than what we usually do whenever we use other decks. So, and I'll be using these for the next 5 days, counting today. So I like to use the deck each for 5 days and then move on to the next one. So let's start with overall energy. What do we have showing up here? We have that side of the King of Wands in reverse. So this is telling me a lot of times that side really tells me that this is something that has happened in the past. So we are talking about either you have done something in the past or you've interacted with someone who's done something in the past. And the type of thing that they would have done would have been where they felt like they had a problem that they really didn't know the solution to, which is not normal for a wands person. This is somebody who normally can think outside the box. They don't let other people tell them what things should look like, feel like, taste like, how things should operate. They really look at what makes sense for them, what would work for them. And they go a lot on inspiration rather than protocol, shall we say. And so it's not normal for somebody like this to have a hard time finding a solution to a problem because they do think so far outside of the box. So I think that whether this is you or somebody from the past, they did have a problem they didn't know the solution to. And so that was kind of stumping them. And also, what happens whenever this person gets stumped is their personality can go more inward than outward. Usually, this is somebody who is very social, very uplifting to others around them. They like to get people cracking up and laughing and just enjoying life. Whenever they have a problem they're not quite sure how to solve, it's more of a challenge for them to be able to uplift other people because they themselves are not in that uplifted, positive, bright, and shiny place that they normally reside in. So, this is the person that we are looking at. For some of us, it will be ourselves. For others, it's somebody that we'll be interacting with, or we have actually. So, this is something that has happened in the past. And because this is a message for today, I'm imagining that we're looking at how we're responding to that today or what we can do to help with that situation today or something along those lines. We'll know more as we start looking at cards. All right. I think we've got the explanation of how everything's running today out of the way. So let's look at Aries first. Okay, so Aries, with this card showing on the top, we're going to use that as well as we look at your particular reading as it goes with our King of Wands, that side in reverse. And so basically what we have showing up here is a King of Pentacles showing up in the middle with our Seven of Cups in reverse. So here's what we have going on. Aries, I think that this is you. I think that in the past you did have a problem with, like we talked about when I talked about the overall energy. And I think right now with that King of Pentacles and the Seven of Cups, what you're doing is you are focusing on the aspect of the situation that has to do with money or with some type of material good. And you are looking at, okay, well, maybe I don't know what to do about this situation overall, but as far as financially or as far as materially, I do know what to do with this situation. So I'm going to at least attack it from the angle that I do know what to do with and start working at it from that angle and let the rest sort of fall into place. So we do see you taking some action here on whatever the situation was that had you stumped. And we see you being very focused on moving forward with this situation excuse me, into a place that is better for you, either financially or just tangibly in the material world. Next up, we're going to look at Taurus. Okay, so Taurus, you have the Three of Swords showing up in the middle here in reverse. Plus, you have that side of the King of Pentacles showing up in reverse. So this is interesting. It looks to me, Taurus, like you ran into a situation that really hurt you emotionally. It made you upset emotionally. And what we see now is that with that King of Pentacles in reverse and the Three of Swords showing up in reverse, this is telling me that we came up with some kind of coping mechanism to help us really kind of set this problem aside rather than work on it because it was so hard on us emotionally. And so, with this Three of Swords in reverse, this says that today what we're doing is we are healing up. By taking some time away from this problem, we are finding ways to heal. We're finding ways to get a new perspective that helps us to come into a better place with this situation that we felt like we were out of control, like we didn't have an answer for. So, really, I think we're getting, I don't know if I want to say some closure, but we are getting definitely a new perspective on this by really withdrawing our energy from whatever this situation is and allowing ourselves to detach and look at it in a more logical way is actually bringing some emotional healing in for us. Excuse me for a moment. Okay, let's look at Gemini next. So, Geminis, what do we have? Ba-ba-da-da-da. So, Two of Wands showing up in the middle for Geminis with that side of a Three of Swords in the upright and our overall energy. So, Gemini, I think that there was some kind of heartbreak or heartache that you had in the past. Doesn't even have to be romantic. It can be. I won't take it off the table, but I think it's important to point out that the the Three of Swords doesn't have to be about a romantic situation. If we have a heartbreak or a heartache, that can come from a business situation, from a friendship, that can come from a lot of places, okay? But we had some kind of heartache that happened in the past that we really didn't know what to do about it or how to handle it. With the Two of Wands showing up in the center today, this is telling me that for those of us with Gemini placements, what we have going on is that there is some kind of new understanding coming in about this situation that helps you to understand that you have choices about how you want to interact with this situation. What do you want to do going forward? So you have some kind of new understanding that is helping you to really solve whatever this problem is, or at least to solve whatever part of it is in your um, sphere of influence to solve. Okay, so we like that. Next up, let's look at Cancers. Okay, so Cancers, you have this side of a Two of Wands showing up in reverse today. Plus, you also have this side of Judgment showing up in reverse as well. So let's look with that overall energy. And if you didn't hear what the overall energy was, you may want to scroll back to the beginning of this video. But with that overall energy, I do feel like in the past, you had the situation that we talked about where you didn't know what to do and it was impacting how you were interacting with the world. Now we see that you have a choice in front of you about finding a solution for this. And this choice has come about because you have taken some time to really reflect on the impact that you want to have on other people in your sphere of influence. And as you've taken the time to reflect on that, you have really come to the realization that whatever this situation was that gave you trouble in the past, it's not good for you to move forward with that situation. It's best for you to just let that sleeping dog lie and focus on other things in your life right now. And we see you, I don't think you're making this conclusion because of my reading. I certainly hope not. But we see you in this energy today of making that decision more because you're realizing what impact your behaviors and your attitudes and your actions are having on the people around you, and you want to have the best impact you possibly can. All right, so that's for Cancers, I think, right? Yes. Next up, let's look at Leo. Okay, Leo's what we have showing up here is going to be Judgment card, once again, this side of the Judgment card. And we also have Temperance. So a couple of heavy hitters here. So Leos, this tells me that in the past, you did have a problem you did not know what to do with, and you really walked away from it. You sort of put it on the back burner. You kind of quit grappling with it. You let it be something that was not the primary focus of your life. And now it looks like with this Judgment card and the Temperance card, you have the opportunity to deal with whatever that problem or concern was, whatever that challenge was, let's say. You have a fresh mind, you have a fresh attitude about how you can deal with that, and you're coming at it in a more balanced way. So you're not obsessing about the problem, you're coming at it more with the solution and still not obsessing about solving it right away either, but taking your time with it, balancing out your efforts towards this solution with other things that you're doing as well. So, finding that balance, not obsessing about it, and that is really helping you come into a better place with whatever this is. We like that. All right, so that was Leo. Next up, we're going to look at Virgo. All right, Virgo. Boop, buddy, doop, boop, boop. Temperance card, that side showing up in reverse, and the Ace of Wands, this side showing up also in reverse. Ba-ba-da-da-da, ba-ba-da-da. Okay, so Virgos, what we have going on here is that you've had a problem that showed up before that you really didn't know how to solve, no matter how you tried to look at it. And for a while, you were really obsessed with finding that solution. You were really obsessed on picking that problem apart and coming up with what is the answer? What is the answer? What is the answer? We have the Ace of Wands showing up in reverse, which says that now you've kind of put yourself into a burnout type of situation where you've spent so much time and energy and effort on that, you really don't even feel like you want to anymore. You're just kind of like just tired. And I think when we have this situation show up, we haven't been balanced about how we're looking at a solution. And so, if you look at a problem too long, all you can see is the problem. Sometimes you have to step back so that you can let the solution flow into you. I don't think you've really stepped back. So I think this idea of not having a lot of energy to put towards that solution is actually a good thing in this case because it allows you to detach a little bit and to breathe and to focus on other things and to let the answers sort of come to you instead of trying to push so hard. So I think this is actually going to end up well for you once you get to that point that you're ready to detach. Okay, so that was Virgo. Next up, we're looking at Libra. So Libra is this side of the Ace of Wands, right side up, along with our Magician in the reverse, this side. So, boom, buddy, boo, 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 boo. This is really interesting because I feel like what's been going on with you Libras is that you felt like you've been doing everything that you knew to do to make things happen, to manifest whatever it is that you want to manifest in your life. You've been doing everything anybody tells you works to do this. You've been going through all the motions. You feel like you've been doing this right, but you feel like you're banging your head against the wall because you haven't been able to manifest what you want in spite of all of that. And that's been the problem that has you, or the challenge that has you kind of stumped for a little while. With the Ace of Wands coming up here, this is just telling me that you are getting an inspired idea today. Now, it's going to be up to you whether you follow that inspiration or not, but you're getting an inspired idea around this. You're having a new understanding of this. And always, 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 when we're banging our head against the wall trying to manifest something, it's because we haven't involved spirit in the process. So it's time to do some ritual or to pray or to just ask for help, you know, and maybe that's your Ace of Wands moment when you realize, wow, I've been trying to do this by myself. It would be so much easier if I got the universe on my side. So it doesn't have to be that this is that new understanding or new idea, but there's definitely a new understanding or new idea coming in for you. All right, next up, we're going to look at Scorpio and have a sip of tea before we talk about this. So, Scorpios, we've got a lot of that side going on here. Our overall is that side. Our center card is that side of the Emperor. Is that the Emperor or Justice? Yeah, that's the Emperor. So that side of the Emperor, and we also have that side of the Magician. So, ba-ba-da-da, what's going on here? Scorpio, looks to me like whatever this is something that is all in past tense. So I'm guessing Spirit just wants us to have a new perspective on it so that we can go back and learn from the lessons that showed up here. Pay attention to what we learned so that we can incorporate that into our everyday lives. So in the past, we did have some type of problem or challenge we really didn't know how to get over, so we didn't do much about it. All right. And we ended up finally just taking control of that situation where there was some challenges here, taking control of that situation in ways that we hadn't before. So before, where we were letting other people influence our lives and influence our choices, maybe even make choices for us, now we have said, okay, I'm going to take control of this situation because letting other people make these choices has put me in a situation I don't know what to do with. So we started taking control of our choices in whatever this was. Now, Magician, manifester, master manifester. This also is something that's in the past because it shows up at that side. And it shows us basically that by taking control of that situation, we were able to manifest the things that we want. And so it's an important lesson to look back and realize that sometimes whenever things aren't going the way that we need them to, it might be because we're giving too much control to other people in our lives, and we need to start controlling that situation moving forward so that we can have the good results and manifest the things that we want to manifest into our lives. All right. So that's for Scorpio. Next up, we're going to look at Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius. Front side of the Emperor in reverse coming up on the side, and the Ten of Wands in the center. Boopity boop boop. What's going on here? Do, 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 do. This is really interesting. So, Sagittarius, if you did not get the overall meaning of this card, you want to go back and get that because I do think that in the past you did have a situation like is described in that card. So, you may want to scroll back and hear about that situation. And I think that this is so similar to Scorpios, just with different cards, to Scorpio's read. I think that in the past you were feeling really out of control. You were feeling like there were exterior things that were controlling your life. Maybe it's not so similar to Scorpio. You were feeling like, if things were going wrong, it wasn't your fault. It was this person's fault. It was that person's fault. It was the other person's fault. And so you didn't feel like you had control in your life because you were letting other people really have the control in your life, or circumstances or situations have the control in your life. And what we see with this Ten of Wands here today is I think you're having some kind of aha moment where you're starting to take responsibility for your own life. You're starting to recognize that, I don't have to give other people responsibility for my life. I can take responsibility for my life. There are things that I can do regardless of what other people are saying or doing. And that's what we see you doing here today. Okay, so that's for Sagittarius. Okay, next, let's look at Capricorn. All right, so Capricorns with our overall energy plus the Ten of Wands in reverse, and in the center, we have the Moon in reverse, and both of these are coming up as that side. So this is really interesting. Capricorn, it looks like with whatever challenge it was that you did not know how to handle, you kind of walked away from that. You put down any kind of responsibilities that you had with this challenging situation. So you basically, I'm hearing you basically washed your hands of the situation. You felt like this was bigger than you, and so you felt like somebody else needed to handle this, but it was not yours to handle. So I feel like you put down the responsibility in whatever was there. And I don't feel like this was in a bad way. I think that you did this in a very healthy, responsible way, actually, to let down these responsibilities or to put down these responsibilities. And with the moon coming up in reverse that side, it looks to me like once you set those responsibilities down, that's really when the truth came out about this situation. And I don't think that you have any regrets about this. I think that this is very similar to Scorpio's situation where everything comes up that side. This means that this is something that has happened in the past that Spirit's trying to give you either a new perspective on, or wants to really like bring up to you, like there was a lesson here, like you learned this lesson here. You don't have to repeat it if you use this information, if you use this lesson moving forward. And so the lesson really, it looks to me like the lesson really here is that when you've got a situation that you know is bigger than you, letting down those responsibilities allows the truth to come out. So it may be that you know, it may be that it was very, letting them down in a healthy way, not just saying, oh, I'm just done with this because things aren't going right for a few minutes, but letting things down in a healthy way when you realize that they're not really your responsibilities to start with allows for the truth to come out. It allows for things to work their way out or work their way through. It allows for problems to unravel into solutions. Whenever there's people involved in a situation that really have no involvement with that situation, then that just adds to the complication of the situation. It does not allow it to actually be solved. And so I think this is what happened here is that your involvement was only complicating things. And so you just stepped aside and let things work themselves out. So this is the lesson to remember as you move forward about how that worked so that when you come to a similar situation, or maybe you're in one right now, and so you need to remember this lesson for today, then oh, wait, this is one of those where it's time for me to step out of the way instead of trying to help and complicating things only. All right. So that's for Capricorn. Next up, we're looking at Aquarius. Okay, so Aquarius, what do we have? We've got our overall energy here, which we talked about at the front of the video. Plus, we've got our moon card, this side of our moon card, and this side of our Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is in reverse. So that's really interesting, Aquarius. So, Aquarius, you have a situation like we talked about with overall energy where you don't exactly know what to do with this challenge. And you've got the moon card showing up here, which tells me that there's stuff going on behind the scenes or under the surface that you're still not aware of. And with the Ten of Swords coming up in reverse, this is my this ain't over yet, baby. That's what this card says. So when it's combined with this card, because these cards come up together, this says that whatever this mystery is here, whatever this thing is that's going on below the surface that you don't know about, this is still happening. Like this has not stopped. All right. So there's still information here that you don't understand. And that information that you don't understand is what's causing you to have the challenge here where you don't know what to do with this. Okay. So as long as this isn't over yet, my advice to you would be to dig in and figure out what is this information. When we've got the moon card, something already seems fishy to you. You're recognizing that something is not right. You just can't quite put your fingers on what it is. What is it that's not right? So it's time to start digging in. It's time to start asking questions. It's time to start reading the fine print. It's time to start looking at the details. It's time to start figuring out what's going on here. What is it that I'm missing? Maybe even ask somebody who's more objective than you to look at this situation. Possibly even get a reading. But for this to become not a challenge, you're going to have to be able to dig into this information. And whatever this is that's going on below the surface, it's still happening. So you can find it because it's not like somebody has quit doing whatever this is. And once you get that information, then this is no longer a challenge that has been a challenge for you. Now you have your solution. Now you know which direction you want to go with this whole situation that includes this big mystery here that's ongoing. And I'm going to tell you also about this ongoing situation that includes this mystery that's a challenge. This ongoing thing is a source of tension or of debate. Okay. So that's as much as I can tell you in 3 cards in a general reading. I hope that helps you guys to understand. And that was Aquarius. Next up, we're going to look at Pisces. Okay, so Pisces, what do we have? We have our overall energy, which you can scroll back to the beginning to see about that. We have our Four of Pentacles showing up this side in reverse, and we have our Ten of Swords showing up this side, right side up. So basically, what do we have here? This is talking about that whatever the situation was that you were feeling challenged about from before, today you are putting an end to it. And with this Four of Pentacles showing up in reverse, this says basically, today this stops, come hell or high water. I am bringing this to a close. So you are bringing this challenge, this thing that has been a challenge to you, you are bringing this to an end today. It is going to take some effort to do it, but we do see you getting it accomplished. Okay? So that's what we have for everybody. Thank you guys very much for hanging out. I know this made a little bit of a longer video. I hope you guys benefit from the extra details that come up with this deck. And remember, you guys are my fabulous sponsors. So it's wonderful if you put a thumbs up or a comment or share this video, because all of that stuff helps the video get in front of more people. And the more people I get to help, the happier I am. So thank you very much for doing your part in me getting this word out there. I'm putting in a lot of energy and effort, And I appreciate you guys putting out that energy and effort to get me out to more people. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone have a fantastic day. Peace out.